I am OpenServe's head of marketing, Ryan Dennis, and I'm joined by Chad, a man who is as smart as five people. Jack Lung, thank you so much for joining, my friend. He's also the host of the Super Cycle podcast and partner of Pylon Partners. I believe you're the founder, right? So,
Absolutely.
Jack, it's such a pleasure to have you on here and joining the OpenServe audience. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure.
So let's appeal to our audience with your authority. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became such a gem finder?
No. Um, I spent most of my career in consumer private equity before, was very deep in crypto gaming, started around 2019, 2020, ran token strategy for IMX. And so a lot of our focus today is on prop trading and navigating the liquid markets, coming from the builder side, trying to ship interesting products and tell the story of the token to retail and institutional investors. So I've come from the builder side and managing. Uh, we had three tokens and a bunch of other ecosystem tokens on the IMX chain, and so was very active in helping shape strategy across the ecosystem. Um, we set up Pylon started this year, started 2024 actually. It's almost been 2 years now, with the whole intention of trading prop cap. But we have especially for my background, I'm a very much a fundamentals guy, and so we go very deep and try to identify teams and tokens which the public we think misunderstand. And so if everyone is looking at a particular, for example, perp dexes, we don't like looking at perp dexes at that moment in time. We think that at any moment in time, there's things that are hot and things that are not. And in crypto, if you're not hot, you just get decimated, which is actually great on a valuation basis for people like us. We don't have any LP; it's all us trading our own book. And then when we try to find a good team, we get very active in trying to help them grow product adoption and then also grow token mindshare. And so obviously OpenServe is one of the names that we like a lot. I think you and Tim represent one of the few names in AI that are shipping all the time. And so we're very excited about that opportunity as well.
Beautiful. And you've gone from consumer private equity into crypto gaming, ran token strategy at IMX. I'd imagine that you know how a lot of different audiences think, how a lot of different investor classes think, to kind of help you manage multiple token asset portfolios. But now with Pylon, you've got your own capital. When you look for the projects that the market misunderstands, what are the main things that you see that most traders are missing?
Yeah, we think in crypto, yeah, a founder of a crypto company manages two core products. One is their actual product stack, which is being sold to enterprise or being used by consumers. And then they have another product, which is the actual token. Um, Doing both of those things is very hard. A lot of the hotly traded tokens often focus on selling the token versus selling any real product. And what we find is a technical product which um, is launched, they often focus too much on the product and the traction on a Web2 side and miss the actual mindshare generation for their second product, the actual token, and making sure that that's well traded. And so a lot of what we do is try to find interesting technologies. For example, we're spending a lot of time in Deepin primarily because we think that these open source networks, which are being bootstrapped in areas like decentralized VPN and a whole series of other, these guys are taking on Web2 incumbents, and it feels very crypto. Like these guys are building new networks owned and operated by the community, and they're taking on centralized competitors. The big problem with those tokens, our mental model is token FTV is driven by fundamentals, which is revenue, P&L, all of that, but also narrative. And so you need to have a balance of good, strong traction, but then also you need people to believe in the story. You need a user to buy the token for its fundamentals, and then also buy it because they think that there's a whole slew of people who don't know about it just yet and will buy it in the future. And so fundamentals plus narrative is what we think delivers FTV. And so most high quality companies which are being built do great on fundamentals and don't do as well on narrative. And so those are the things that we're trying to watch out for. And we think that, and so we specifically focus on trying to help projects tell the story and get more eyeballs in an ecosystem, and hopefully get those tokens traded better. That's ideally how we think about it.
That's beautiful. And I know in our previous conversation, we talked about the Serve launch platform, our tokenization platform that's coming out, and how if and when we have runners, their success is more important than even our own success in a way. So we totally agree, which is why we've kind of went full bore into founder success being our key, and so I want to speak to them for a few minutes, right? When you mentioned DePIN, and when you zoom out across AI, DePIN, robotics, liquid crypto, what trends feel inevitable to you, right? If a founder is in 2026 is simply long AI orchestration or long robots or long deep in infrastructure, are they effectively long the right future? And they have to, you're okay with them waiting for the market to keep up? Because I remember watching you, and you had an amazing last show on the Super Cycle podcast. And one of your guests was mentioning how BYD, the automotive company, is trading at 1% of Tesla. But they obviously are selling more cars. Their products are incredible. So at OpenServe, we can relate. So, speak to those founders who are long something that they should believe in, and tell them what the investors are thinking on the other end.
Yeah, I think that all the power in the world goes to the technologists. I think what we find is uh, technical founders are shipping products earlier. The teams are smaller. A lot of them are powered by a team which might have required an engineering crew of 5 to 10, and a year or two to ship something can do it in a weekend. And so for us, we think that the barriers to launching good technology is getting lower. How do you differentiate then? It usually is go to market and community building and great marketing. I also think design is certainly a differentiator. I mean, in a world where technology is a commodity, the things that drive differentiation are the most human aspects, which is good taste, being able to build a good cult, tell a good story. Those are the things that founders will be judged on. For us, we view ourselves as secondary to the developer. It's like, if you have a good technology and you have an entrepreneur who believes in what they're doing, those people are unstoppable. Our job is to find those people early and try to be as useful as possible. And so the mega trends driven by crypto and AI are technology is much more easier shipped. Teams are getting smaller. And we think that tokenization and being able to IPO their company or make their product investable at its very early stages and rewarding users in the very early stages accelerates community building. And so launching tokens is critical in go-to-market. And so founders need to figure out, okay, I have this ambitious idea for whatever, an agent or a new research initiative that they're looking to launch. They'll look category by category in crypto and try to figure out who can support them in tokenizing and tapping into initial communities. For example, in this context, a developer who goes and uses the Serve launch platform will launch their coin, but then be able to tap into the existing OpenServe community, which should be powerful. And so it also means that they don't start from zero versus a developer who purely wants to focus on the technology. All they're looking to do is trying to find people who care. And so launching assets enables people to care. Tapping into partner distribution enables people to care and allows you to bootstrap faster. So those are the mega megatrends we're most excited about. We think that this is a democratization of entrepreneurship. We think that there's going to be billions of micro entrepreneurs who are going to be, everyone can launch a product nowadays. I love X42 in particular. I think the world is going to have people going to be creating all these different valuable endpoints. I'm a big fan of indiehacker.com, like this, just a place where people list their side hobbies and side projects that people are building. We think that there'll be an X42 agent version of that where someone built something overnight and they saw it blew up and they achieved financial freedom. That's what global capital markets are about. And so for us as investors and supporters of those developers, we try to help those products be successful. And so the world's opening up, and so we're super excited. I think Serve also has a great platform there.
That's amazing. And Jack, what you just said is so important for founders to internalize, right? I mean, teams are getting smaller and the bottlenecks are disappearing. So work that used to take 10 engineers, we see, 6 months now happens with one founder and a set of agents over a weekend in an accelerator, in a hackathon, in a matter of hours. And I think that's the shift most people underestimate. Maybe the market underprices because if teams are getting smaller, then distribution becomes the new battlefield and narrative becomes the moat and community becomes the accelerator. I don't see how. Um, I think therefore then tokenization kind of becomes the only go to market, and that's where Serve Launch comes in. Founders are building markets around their products, which is why we're totally okay with them taking these categories and these long form trends and finding a niche, a micro niche within that to build early ownership and that cult mentality that you mentioned. And you said in this new world, the power is kind of shifting to technologists because small, sharp teams can ship serious products pretty quickly. So I guess that kind of brings me to my next question, which is like when founders look at tokenization platforms, okay, Serve Launch included, what should they be optimizing for? Like, what do the best founders look for in a launch platform that they know will accelerate their starting community, their mind share, their early token market, um, and maybe what questions do you have when you see that? What box do you put them in when you see them going through that process? Obviously, when compared to like a YC um, you know, or just going on their own.
Yeah, I think Q4 last year, virtuals is probably the best comp. Why do people launch on virtuals? Primarily because they had mindshare and they had money. And so, what does a developer want? They want their product to get traction, and they want to be able to finance and guarantee the operational success of their company. And so, if you're able to give them new users and get them money, then I think it makes a lot of sense. Um, I think what we'll find is this tokenization platforms will have to niche down. Bio on the DeSci side makes a lot of sense. Bio protocol focuses on scientific research projects. That niche enables them, a science focused, DeSci focused developer, to launch a product and tap into willing buyers and people who are hunting for early stage opportunities. It's the same as um, why would you launch on Kickstarter if you're launching, for example, a board game? And it's because Kickstarter has a track record of selling out board games in particular, that the hobbyists go to Kickstarter and actively look for interesting opportunities for them to support a new project or concept. And so in this case for us, um, you're trying to make a long-term future judgment on a project, which is, okay, you launch on virtuals. If we retroactively review the last year of launches on virtuals, most of them don't exist anymore, primarily because the market's down. And so the companies which fail to prepare operationally for the virtuals mindshare to go down and the financing that they received on virtual to go down, they just default dead. Like, what's good comp? Like, we think about there's quite a few long tail projects on virtuals which maybe rode up from 0 to 20 mil FTV. Today they trade at under 1 and they're just out of money. And so that project is default dead. And so for us, early stage company building is certainly about layers of risk. And so in the early stage, which is when you're 0 to 1, how do you get to 1? Unfortunately, a lot of guys got to 1 on the virtuals ecosystem, but they weren't able to extend beyond 1. And so for us, you're kind of looking for a unicorn, multifaceted entrepreneur who can kind of go from 0 to 1 and 1 to 10 and then 10 to 100. That requires those skill sets like very different as time goes on. And that's the same on bio as well. Like bio, that most of those science projects aren't going anywhere, primarily because momentum's down. And so the long thesis for tokenization is you can kind of bring down economic investment and then also take a product to market earlier, but that's so macro driven. So the short thesis is if macro goes down, then these projects are done anyways. And so for us, we're very cognizant of that. I think the rotation from virtuals to creator bid as a agent rotation made a lot of sense. But even on creator bid, I think they've had some problems with some of these agents surviving because yes, you got your initial mind share, but most of these guys weren't prepared for company building. One of the investments we have is Sire that was a token launched on creator bid, and they're building a sports betting agent, which is super cool. And so you can put money into their vaults and earn yield based on the performance of their sports betting markets. And so they play on Polymarket, Kalshi, etc. I think that vault is at 500,000 TVL, and they're up 10% in the last 2 months, which is pretty cool. Those guys are company builders. And so when we saw that, we realized, okay, you are launching this agent token as a proof of concept for your technology. What's the overarching company building? Oh, you guys actually have a team of 20, 30, and you guys have financing to keep going. Okay, that's interesting. Let's talk. That's just not true for most of these smaller. There's like a short thesis on these type of smaller teams, which is the hobbyists can commercialize their products earlier, but are they prepared to company build? I mean, in crypto, it doesn't matter because you can monetize investing in the 0, sell at the 1, and then just leave and go rotate to something else. For us, we're trying to support long-term minded entrepreneurs. We're trying to find new business models and new technologies that weren't possible before. And so we value a deeper level of thought on how an entrepreneur came to the conclusion that they should be building something. And so we spend an exorbitant amount of time trying to understand, okay, what does this entrepreneur want to do and why do they want to do it? Is this just an early grift? You can grift in crypto, that's fine. If you believe in crypto, you have to believe in self-expression. And so some of these guys are scammers. And so go scam, I guess. I'm not participating, but you do what you got to do, man. I hope you don't succeed, but keep going. And so there's like a certain area that we like. But going back to your point, I think tokenization platforms, the only thing to fight for in the 0 to 1 stage, which is where the mega trend is coming, which is enabling more people to go to 0 to 1 with and stepping over venture capital and going direct to the community. I think that's super bullish. And so a developer needs to figure out, okay, who's the best platform for us? Who has the best mind share, capital, and then also technology as well. Although I think that technology is going to be quite standardized across the various frameworks.
When you evaluate a founder, right, with the teams getting smaller, and you kind of mentioned some of the things that you look for in a founder, someone who's long-term minded, at this very early stage, someone who can build literally anything with AI and an AI agent orchestration tool that allows them to connect APIs with any framework, any technology, prediction markets, and the like. So could you tell me a little bit about the personality and the traits that you see in these founders, and for the founders who are listening, what they could work on a little bit as they look to build their idea out, and assuming that AI will handle the rest, what can they do personally to ensure that they are giving you the right signal, right? So like, what are the specific traits or behaviors that make you think this is that unicorn, that multifaceted entrepreneur who can survive multiple market cycles in a space like this?
Yeah, I think it is very qualitative, the things that we look for. I think we look for track record, which is what has this person done before? Why are they committed to this mission? What have they done in Web 2 to make their story stand out? Um, Although I think that, so we usually wouldn't touch something in the 0 to 1 stage, primarily because we make most of our money trying to commercialize something from 1 to 10. And so for us, we don't usually take asymmetric bets on a founder in the earliest stages of, oh, this product isn't even live yet. And so for us, we spend most of our time evaluating, oh, once they have traction, and once there's a differentiated point of view on a product, and then they have traction to show that momentum is behind them, is when we would step in and say, okay, this is worth our time to help commercialize. I mean, our partnership group is primarily um, guys who've built companies. My partner Dith, he runs the number one application on Abstract, which is a game called Gigaverse that has made a bit over 7-8 mil in the last 12 months, which is fantastic for a gaming project. He was a CMO of an Andreessen-backed crypto infrastructure project, which is super cool. And our third partner is Sammy. And so Sammy is obviously one of the most influential AI creators. And so for us, we get pitched a lot. And so the only way to cut through the noise is, okay, what is different about what this person is working on? That's on a very like unicorn level. I think absent strong credibility in terms of what they're building, I just think developers should just ship a lot and just try things. I think crypto has always been about experimentation, and you never know what works. I mean, ultimately, what founders we like backing are the ones who just want to make a dent on the world, and so what they value. I don't like the absolutists in crypto who say, "Oh, this I'm building this technology simply because it's a philosophical thing." Like we care about what we like backing other founders who care about commercialization, which is real impact on the world is predicated by how many people are using this and have I changed someone's life. And so if you don't come from strong credibility, for example, you're a dev in not from San Francisco or in New York, and you want to ship something, you should just ship a lot. It's like ship quickly and just take things to market and just see what sticks. I think obviously the idea is you are able to take a lot of shots on goal. I think those type of developers, if they're tokenizing, certainly need to make a promise to the community and say, guys, this is an experiment, so don't put your freaking life savings on it. But I'm trying to build this, would appreciate people's support. I think there's like a certain developer who can balance the experimentation of crypto whilst also balancing communities, like the community expectation that they're building. But I also think that crypto is very degen, but also crypto is like very likes to support long tail moonshots. And the point of global capital formation means that anyone anywhere can build, but also anyone anywhere can support something in its very early stages, which is why tokenization platforms make a lot of sense. Anyone can participate in a virtuals market, create a bid market, then you serve launch market. And so, where for us, when we're evaluating developers is probably, are you credible or are you not? And if you aren't, what traction points can I point to underwrite my investment? And so for those type of developers, you just have to ship better, make your product look better, and build your community better. And so there's certainly like a bit of a the game is not in your favor, and so you have to outwork some other developers who might have had a bit of luck in the previous things that they've done. And so, but the point of crypto is anyone can do anything, and so it really is a meritocracy like that. So, you know.
Yeah, I love what you said about experimenting and shipping a lot. And the whole team just had an incubation session internally here at OpenServe in Morocco, where we met for almost a week and sort of delved into what our real focus is. And it is founder success. And one of the core terms that we keep coming back to is exploring, right? And I believe that shipping and experimenting a lot is a version of exploring. Or exploring might be the best word to encompass it, at least for us, because founders are all exploring constantly. I mean, that's the part that people, I think, underestimate the most And your point about fundamentals plus narrative becomes so real because you have to explore technically while you're exploring in a communicative way, right? With your audience, with your X posts, with your Telegram cult and community. So exploration kind of becomes the fundamentals for you there. So I always tell our own community very simply that, you know, this is the easiest way to get rich, AI, right? To become successful. This is the first time that you have access to tools that billionaires have had really since before the pandemic began. And you don't have to wait or beg or ask for permission. You can just explore because, as you said, the world has flipped and tech is becoming a commodity. So the founders who explore, who ship fast, ship often, and treat the entire market like a laboratory, they end up winning. And you see it all the time. So we see a lot of teams that are just pivoting and pivoting and pivoting, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying change exactly what you're doing as a whole, but have a central mission and try everything within your micro niche to ensure that the ones who are experimenting, whether it be with AI orchestration or DeepIn or robotics, um, they know where they should be, what niche they believe in, and why they're primarily suited to attack it. And like you said, be long term minded. So I hope those listening are focused. So I want to ask you this directly, right? We've got a few questions from our audience, and they have some very interesting opinions. So you mind if I put you on the hot seat with some amazing audience questions?
Yeah, yeah. Go on.
Cool. So one person asked, when you're evaluating founders operating in these frontier spaces, what traits scream diamond to you?
Oh man. Um, if they have a token or before they have a token?
Let's say they look just they're just they're coming out with a token or they will have a token.
Yeah, we do a lot of um we weigh the depth of thinking a lot on the opportunity the product is targeting. And so I like very specific reasons that uh, someone is working on this. It should be something that I didn't know before or something that the market doesn't understand. For what's a good example for you? I think one of our largest positions is in a token called Chili's. Chili's is one of the L1s that was launched in 2018. Broadly speaking, they um, are the number one provider of fan tokens. They've done it for the last 7 years. They have 66 fan tokens. Half of them are listed on Binance. They have long-term relationships with Barcelona, Manchester City, Juventus, and now they're going very deep into the US. If you mention Chili's to anyone who's come in the last 4 or 5 years and joined crypto, they would have no idea what the name is, which is a failure of their management team. And so for us, we think that in a retail-driven bull market, these brands and the long-standing relationships are moats that Ryan and Jack can't go in and just start a new company and try to compete with them. And so that's worth a lot. They need some help on the marketing side, and so we're very active in helping support them. But we did the work to see a name that we thought in a retail bull market would be very well liked. They're going down this entertainment RWA angle beyond just fan tokens. The franchises that they support today, like a Barcelona, are looking to tokenize aspects of the business and release it to the public as an investable product. You can imagine things like merchandise revenues, broadcasting revenues. In 2020, one of the largest private equity groups, Sixth Street, made huge investments across the NBA, La Liga in Europe, the Premier League, because they knew how well these entertainment assets would do. And so for us, we're similar believers of those, and Chili's is one of the primary names to invest in that area. And again, that's certainly a different stage of token and project, but you could kind of see we have a differentiated point of view on people would look at that token and on a layman's level say, isn't that sports blockchain, which is absolutely correct, but we can see a future in the next 2 to 3 years where they go deep on entertainment RWAs, increase TVL. They're doing a lot of work in the US. The founder is very active on X. It has a Binance Upbit, long-term listings. And so there's a lot of things to like on the asset on that side. And so for us, we take the same principles. When you invest at the multi-bills and multi-hundreds of millions of dollars of valuation, it's the same as when you're investing in the early stages. For us, the technology, if something, I like very specific use cases. I've been speaking a lot with the founder of Wingbits. Wingbits is building an open network for hobby flight trackers to track flights around the world. The Web2 competitor was recently valued at $500 million, and that whole commercial airlines pay for access to that data, and all of that data is primarily delivered by, again, flight enthusiasts. And so the flight enthusiasts do not receive any revenue from the underlying data that they contribute, and Wingbits is trying to compete with them on a aviation data level. And so they spent a lot of time educating me on the opportunity, on why these airlines need to pay for that data, which again, for me, I'm not really a technical guy. I'm a token markets guy. And so what I'm trying to understand is what business is being disrupted via what you guys are doing. The same aviation Web2 incumbents, it's actually even worse for maritime data. So shipping data is one of the leading providers and trackers of shipping containers, and recently got bought out by Kepler, which is the #1 leader. And they've been buying out all of their smaller competitors, and now all of that data is unaccessible. And so the Wingbits team is looking to build a competitor to that and bootstrap the supply side by working and incentivizing people around the world to keep tracking these type of shipping vessels, and then being able to reward them for that. This is very much top of mind because I just had this conversation a few days ago, and the founder feels so deeply that we need community-driven alternatives. And so, dude, we're talking about like flight data and maritime, like shipping data. And so that's like very specific. But it's also very crypto. Like this doesn't work unless you have a global currency which you can reward users around the world without having local bank accounts set up in every geography. And so when we think about those type of opportunities, we say to ourselves, this person gets the market. There's clearly Web2 comparables here that they're trying to take on. And it is being a new business is being uniquely enabled via tokenization. Again, for us, we're capital allocators. And so that's a big business that they're trying to build, and they require a lot of help. On the other side, you think about, again, the indie hacker and these hobbyist type of tech, like I'm going back to like these X402 endpoints. They don't need people like me and my money or my team's help, because whatever they're building is already economically valuable and the technology works, and they can just run it themselves. And they are just happy to have it as a revenue source for themselves as a single developer. And so we don't invest in those things primarily because we can't help the developer. They're not trying to make this a venture scale outcome. And so for us, it's like, holy shit, well done, keep going. Those can be investable assets as well, which is like, wow, this particular use case, it's like a Warren Buffett research agent where you can like for 10 cents, you can generate like a 50-page report on a traditional stock, and have it in the voice of like a Berkshire Hathaway like investment report. We think those things can be valuable for people to pay for, but ultimately it's not a business for me. I might buy it because I like using the product, but you don't need me to be spending my time every day trying to help you grow that product, because the developer themselves knows it back to front. And so for some developers who are listening, you don't need investors. Go do it yourself. Again, you have all the power. So we're very excited about that. But going back to what makes something a gem, it's usually an emotional feeling of, wow, this developer knows something that they've thought a lot long time about, and they have a differentiated point of view on how their product can make a dent and capture economic opportunities in that particular vertical. And if they don't do that, we're just not interested. We're like, okay, you sound like everyone else who's tried to build. It's like in 2021 when everyone was pitching a metaverse. You're like, oh, why are you pitching a metaverse? You have no history here. Oh, you just played Diablo when you were growing up. Oh, okay, yeah, that's not going to work. So
Speaking of Diablo, let's take a quick break and talk about the name Pylon. Let's have a little bit of a relief here. This really a reference from StarCraft?
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I like the word pylon. I played a lot of StarCraft Brood War when I was in college. We definitely a Protoss main, primarily because my mechanical skills weren't very good. Uh, uh, my partner Dith, he's a Terran player, played a lot of Brood War as well, and so um, yeah, we thought this was a great name. We also think Pylon's great as like a support structure, like supporting other
Yeah,
founders and being able to be the thing that warps in new units. We like that concept. So yeah, very much we love gaming. It's like it's such a fun thing, and so yeah, we're sticking true to that.
love that. Yeah, if anybody doesn't know, I'm a huge StarCraft Brood War fan as well, and happy to download the free version and play anytime. Um, what another question we got from our community, right? You did mention you're not specifically looking at 0 to 1 founders, but OpenServe, but more the 1 to 10, right? So that's where OpenServe is. How do we catch your eye? That was a question from the community, from them as well. You're more interested in a team that can sort of, take a fundamental lens, understand a market. What is it that you see in OpenServe's execution or positioning that makes you put us in that multi-cycle company builder bucket for the future?
This is about OpenServe, the project in particular, or a developer who's building on OpenServe.
Let's first talk about OpenServe in general, right? Like,
Yeah.
how did we come to know you, and how did our community, how did you serendipitously appear in our ecosystem?
I think Serve has had a great reputation. Long-term minded. I think you guys have been building for a while. The token has performed very well, um, especially the initial TGE. We thought was very well executed and was very fairly launched. Sammy has been a long-time supporter of OpenServe as well. He obviously put in a lot of great words that you guys were long-term orientated founders. And so for us, mm, we think that, especially meeting Tim, we saw someone who was committed to the journey. We've met a majority of the management teams on the listed AI token side, and you take away some of the vaporware guys who sold a dream to get a Bybit listing uninvestable. We thought that there was only a few, excuse me, on the low cap to the mid cap side as well. Sorry. Um, and so for us, we like these lopsided setups. And by that, I mean, for the valuation of Serve today, which I think trades below 50 mil FDV, we've participated in seed rounds above 50 mil when they've had less to show for what they've done than what Serve has. And so we think price is quite interesting at these levels. We think that the team has been operating for a number of years and the tech stack makes sense. And we're particularly excited about this new generation of entrepreneurs who will launch on Serve. And so we're very excited about Serve as this ecosystem infrastructure play that could do well. And so I think there's an amalgamation of all of those factors. And so downside is decently well protected and strong upside depending on how the community reacts to the various product and tech launches over the next few months.
So you heard that, community. You need to explode, jump for joy, send out more memes, email your mother, your barber, your baby mama, everybody you know about Serve with every product and feature launch we have. Uh, that's great context. And to segue into the other point you brought up, right? These people who are thinking and already lining up. Actually, we have people coming around the corner trying to launch a token now with our upcoming platform, which isn't even out yet. Um, Speaking to another question from the audience, which was, how do you think agent-run products, agent-run companies that will have tokens behind them will fare in this sort of landscape or in 2026, right? Or maybe another way to put that is, what are the most misunderstood things about the future of agent-based businesses? Are you bullish? What should founders be excited about building here? What should maybe investors be considering here? Is this the future? I know you mentioned, you're familiar with X402, which is fully enabled across OpenServe. And what is the opportunity for those building and launching on Serve Launch and anybody launching an AI agent run business?
Man, yeah, I think we're super early, right? I think in the
Yeah.
last year or so, um, there's been just a Cambridge explosion of agent for X vertical. One of my close friends is the founder of agent product for accountants, and they've just raised a bunch of financing for that organization on a Web 2 level. And so we think that the Web 2, there'll be like a new generation of uh, the the Web 2 agent based finance. So the Web 2 versions of these agent for X vertical companies are usually taking on large enterprise opportunities. And so Andreessen is backing these type of agent products to go after, for example, Tesla. And so trying to get Tesla to adopt one of their portfolio companies' agent product. Let's use like customer support or yeah, customer support is a big one. Oh my God, there's so many different versions of customer support agents that even the AI companies that are using customer support agents primarily because they're not building that internally. If they're building like a LLM, so we think that there'll be Web3 versions of those. Some of them will be very so maybe a larger point where we think that's very early in Web2 in these Web2 companies being built. We think that crypto always has a role in terms of global capital formation, which is in crypto, a developer can build a Web3 version of something that works in Web2 and be able to bootstrap usage via token. And so for us, every single category that is being disrupted by agents today in Web2 in crypto has a unique right to win because they have a token. And so for us, we're so early that no one uses Web3 agents, to be honest. Like Deep AI kind of works. Giza, Almanac have, I guess that agent is one that helps you auto rotate your stables into different products. We have a bunch of money in TVL on Giza, which we like their UX a lot. But man, apart from that, I don't think people use any crypto first type of agent products. And so for us, the challenge for a developer in crypto is yes, you can potentially you could do the Web3 game, which is build a Web3 go to market community and raise financing, but you got to compete with the Web2 and be able to onboard normal people into your product. And most of these people who are using an agent product don't care if it's crypto or not. You just got to be good. You just got to be getting people using your product and make it economically valuable, be able to actually charge a fee on it and keep your business, get your business going. So for us, we're very bullish, but man, it's uninvestable for us today unless we find a good developer who are like, we'd want to spend time with this person and take on this massive opportunity. Apart from the deep AI vertical, there's nothing that's been that interesting. Primarily because and it makes sense because, for example, take the agent for accountants. I mean, they're vertical specialists. Like the guys were former CFOs. And so they don't need to come to crypto because that were so early in Web 2 that they could secure an immense amount of financing in Web 2. There's a lot of Web 2 venture dollars looking into this. It doesn't need to be crypto, even if they're experienced in crypto. They don't need to wrap a token around it because there's so much equity value to be had. And so the game theory makes a lot of sense, which is if I was taking an investment lens, the question is why aren't more Web3 developers building agents? Maybe they are and no one's using them, but it's also because any leader who might have come from, let's say, X Stripe and is now going in building an agent for X, like an agent for accountants or whatever company formation use case, they could just go to Web 2, which actually makes it more interesting for a Web 3 developer to say, hey, there's no, the Web 2 versions of these organizations, the best developers are going into Web 2 and trying to get money from Andreessen. Are there opportunities that we as a nimbler team can go after that these people don't understand yet? I mean, we view a lot of company building as just a game, right? Which is if you see a well-trodden path by other competitors in a certain area, you should look somewhere else and try to outthink them and outmaneuver them. We think that the world is very simple like that. It's like don't go chasing things. Have your own opinion, pattern match, and try to figure out what do I understand that other people don't, and have a crack. And the first idea never usually works, and so we like people who are always trying new things, but at some point they have tried so many things that one of these things work. That's ultimately what a developer should be doing this for. You just keep trying. So
And I think everybody can see now why I had you come on the show, because it's so many bars are just coming. I love the part about the first idea never works. If you're getting advice from somebody successful and you want to, hey, I want to be like you, Michael Saylor. If you were to have dinner with him, he would probably tell you, well, don't copy anybody else, right? Because you have to find your own journey. And typically, the most successful person that is succeeded by the next superstar talent or business leader, they're nothing alike, right? The next person is, Mike Tyson is totally different from Evander Holyfield, or Elon Musk is totally different from Albert Einstein or whoever you'd compare them to, right? They're different people. So, and you called it out with like, we're early, and I think everybody needs to understand that we're super early and we're positioned for where things will be. Right. When I joined Tron and became head of marketing at BitTorrent, we were early. Nobody thought Tron was going to be a successful project. They thought maybe this is a scam from Hong Kong. When I joined Stellar, people said this is a grandfather chain. There's no future here. And when I joined Ton, people said this is a nebulous project sued by the SEC. They're cooked. Right. So being positioned early is extremely important, not only for builders and founders and employees like me who really see themselves as entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs. I think early is where the asymmetric outcomes live, as Jack has put it here. So listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about here, right? You should be looking for that asymmetric upside, and OpenServe sits right at that intersection with AI execution, Web3 distribution, and founder leverage and founder success. So you can build, launch, and run everything here with one platform, and so I think we're hitting it all in one fell swoop. So this is the state of the market, right? So I think anybody who is watching this would love a soundbite from you on what the heck is going on with the market. Where are we? What does 2026 look like? We're heading into the holiday season, 2025 coming to a close. I'd love to hear, what does the market say to you when you look back at 2025, and what seems at least obvious or apparent as we look forward to 2026?
yeah, we're not cycle pickers. We also I don't care much about people saying the 4-year cycle, or surely it's time for a bull market, or surely it's time for a bear market. For us, we are I am a we think that crypto is certainly a technical revolution, but also it's like a social and capitalism revolution. And so for us, again, global capital formation, global intelligence coordination, these are principles that we think society will be defined by, being able to have anyone anywhere contribute to building a company, or for you to build a company where you're working with anyone around the world, um, being able to raise money around the world. And so there's a lot of unique use cases about crypto for us that we're incredibly excited by, which is a long-winded way of saying for us, we don't really care where we are in the cycle. We think that going from 2017, 21, there's obviously a lot of economic opportunity here. On the upside level, you just need to survive long enough to get lucky. We think that the only thing that people fall into the cracks on are protecting your downside, which is we don't care if 2026 does well or not because our organization is very lean and we run a very tight ship. And so for us, we're not blowing ourselves up. We don't run more than 2x lev. And for us, it's like we want to survive for a very long time. And so we're playing a long, like, infinite game here. And so for us, it's preserve our capital, try to be as useful as possible, find people who also have a long-term point of view and build interesting new businesses together. It's really hard to mess it up. It's really hard to fail when the setup is so good for entrepreneurs and investors who get it. So we're also not like serotonin chasers. Like for us, it's not, we don't need to go to a party to be happy. We're very happy. We don't need to rent penthouses or have fast cars. For us, it's where we view ourselves as crusaders. Like we're trying to stand for something. And so for us, again, 2026, I don't care. I don't think any developer should care either. We should be trying to figure out what's fascinating technology and what opportunities can we go and disrupt and take the fight to a bigger player. And so, yeah, it's really hard to mess up the next year or so. And so we always think of the super cycle. We always think that the world is constantly getting better. And so we'd like to play an active role in making sure that happens. So just bullish.
Just bullish. Super cycle. If you say super cycle enough, it will come. Yes. So, the host of the Super Cycle podcast, where can people find you, Jack, and tune into your next show? And obviously, big shout out to Sammy. I mean, we love Sammy around here. He is a star to us, and you're joining him up there. So, yeah, where can people find Pylon and any of the content you're going to be coming out with soon?
Yeah, I'm at Haitzu, Haitzu on X. Our X for Supercycle Pod is Supercycle Pod. Going to be interviewing a bunch of our friends on the intersection of crypto and most use cases that we're excited about. And so, yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I mean, this is probably the clearest signal of where we are and where we're headed. My favorite quote from you today is we got to give all the power to the technologists, right? Those who are actually building. So we went over AI execution, Web3 distribution, and global capital formation. They're all converging. And for the first time in history, I think anyone anywhere can build a company with an AI workforce and a tokenized community on day one. So that's the whole reason OpenServe exists. We're building rails for the explorers, the ones who ship fast. And Jack here said that that's the key to success and understanding your market. You have to ship and experiment and try things and treat this moment that we have here as an asymmetric opportunity that it is. So, Jack, you've been generous with your thinking, with your mind. I really appreciate it. Generous with your time as well, and brutally honest with us about where founders win and where they blow themselves up. So our audience needed to hear that, and I think some people who are considering, building, they need to hear that as well. So thank you, not just for coming on, but for giving founders a blueprint. Explore relentlessly, survive intelligently. We've already seen a few OpenServe competitors die this quarter, and we're happy to be the incumbent. But I know that we're building something that Tim and Lucas, when they founded the company, they hadn't dreamed it would become this clear and amazing that this opportunity is opening for us. So to everyone watching, go check out Jack's Super Cycle Pod. Follow Pylon Partners. Follow Jack. It's at Haitzu, right? And
yes, sir.
We'll definitely be be following your journey as well. So if you learned something today, replay this, clip it, share it, internalize it. And Jack, thank you again, brother. We'll have you back soon for the next chapter.